My bad. I thought we were there yet, but I didn't even turn on the webcam yet. So, that was amazing. So, hello. Hello everyone. It's Thursday, which means it's stream time. And since this is the last Thursday of the month, this is going to be a new archaeological discovery stream. So, yeah, I think we're all here. Probably. At least I hope y'all are here. It's very sunny, suddenly, in the Netherlands. Doesn't usually happen, at least not that much. We had a massive fire breakout in the country yesterday because some military dudes were playing outside in the Veluwe area. And apparently they thought that it would be smart to use explosives and stuff like that while there's a drought going on in the country. So yeah, that became a massive fire. Awesomes. So hopefully all the animals are okay and not too much of our forested area, that's like the prettiest area of this entire country, gets ruined. So yeah. But that said, let's jump into today's video stuffs, I think that's a good thing to do. So, yeah, let's grab the live scene. Of course, we start at, have you seen my merch? I mean, the merch is kind of awesome, and I've been getting some orders from people, so that's awesome. I still haven't found one person that actually wants this backpack. And I thought that it was awesome. I ordered the backpack for myself. But, like, no one has done it yet. Or the cups. Dudes, people, this awesome is massive. And this is the big version. There's a smaller version. So, like, definitely check that out. Come on, people. Why y'all sleeping on my merch? Stop sleeping on my merch. Because I'm working on, like, a new merch line next to it. It's going to be the Skull series, because this is like the Lion series, the Chauvet Lions. I'm working on a Skull series of like all these shirts and stuff with like skulls from extinct human species. I want that to do well. So like people, come on. I'm also drinking a 0.0 alcohol cider today, because yeah, I wasn't really feeling any alcohol. But I still wanted cider. Okay, so next up we got the tour. And yes, you can still join us in Turkey. Highly recommend you do. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be awesome. It's a 10-day tour. We're going to see so many sites. And yeah, link to that should be in the description. And otherwise, I will share it in the chats. Or at least in the chat I can. You want to hear more about the Anatolia trip? I did a whole live stream recently, a couple weeks ago. Let's see. Here, on the channel. This is the channel. Y'all are familiar with my channel, I guess. There's a live stream from a month ago where me, Dakota, and Pete tell you everything about this entire tour. So I can share that as well in the chats. Tour info live stream. And we will probably do another tour live stream in like a month or so. So yeah, it's coming. It's coming. Like we are still promoting the tour because the tour is amazing and we want people to join us. So yeah, okay, tour info, everything in the chat. Okay, well, suddenly TikTok decided to restrict my live. No idea why. I haven't even said a curse word or shown anything weird. But okay, TikTok. Whatever the fuck you want then. Now that it's restricted anyway, it doesn't matter anymore. But yeah, today's live stream, like I said, it's the last Thursday of the month. So that means that we're going to take a look into some archaeological discoveries from the past month. So yeah, let's jump right in. And we are starting with archaeologists that found Bronze Age traces at Hohenschau Castle. I'm probably butchering that. Because German, like, I'm quite okay with, like, pronouncing names, but, like, German? German is not my thing. Like, me and the German language, we're not friends whatsoever. And it's especially bad because I got a German last name and I've got some German ancestry. So yeah, forgive me for that. So yeah. So TikTok says that I'm consuming substances featured in the live that could harm my health. I'm actually drinking a 0.0 alcohol cider. Like there's no alcohol in it, but it's probably okay. So it's the shape of a beer bottle. That's probably why TikTok was like, "Oh no, clutch my pearls." TikTok, come on, guys. Oh well, shit happens. So, like I said, archaeologists found Bronze Age traces at Hohenschau Castle. I have no idea how to pronounce that, but we're just gonna go through it because the CH sound, or like the way you have to pronounce that, is either an ch or a ch. And usually the Germans say that my ch is too harsh. It's not my fault. Can't help it. But recent excavation work at Hohenschau Castle in Aschau in Chiemgau, or Chiemgau, whatever you want to, in Germany, has uncovered evidence that the site was inhabited far earlier than previously believed, with traces of human activity dating back more than 4,000 years. Let me just zoom that in a little bit for you guys. So, we are here. Archaeologists working in the castle's inner courtyard discovered pottery dating to around 2300 BCE, placing the first known settlement on the hilltop to the Bronze Age. The location, perched on a limestone outcrop high above the Prien Valley, appears to have attracted early communities because of its natural advantages. The terrain itself posed a challenge. The rock is uneven and split by cracks. Evidence suggests that early occupants packed those gaps with a mix of sand and clay, leveling out enough space to build and live. Until now, Bronze Age objects had turned up only in the surrounding countryside and not on the hilltop. Okay, so here we have a picture of their dig. Now, that's good, because now I can take a sippy sip. Because I really do like to take a sippy sip every now and then. So yeah. The current dig began in late 2025 as part of routine maintenance. Teams from regional construction offices, heritage authorities, and private excavation firms worked side by side. The property belongs to the federal government's real estate agency, which approved the investigation. Always happy when that happens. I mean, sometimes it's the federal government's real estate agency that's like, no, I don't want you to dig there. And that sucks whenever they do that. So pottery from the 9th to 11th centuries came to light in debris linked to a dismantled kiln, and its purpose remains unclear, but the find shows that the hill was in use well before the castle entered written records. Closer to the surface, the team found remains from later periods, sections of wall, old paving, and soil marks outlining a rectangular structure. Bits of painted plaster hint at decorated interiors. A carved stone fragment likely once formed part of an arcade added in a later phase. Historical sources first mention a fortress here in the late 12th century. The new evidence suggests that the location had already been occupied for centuries, perhaps chosen again and again for the same reasons: height, visibility, and natural protection. So, yeah, that was the first. Guys, we survived the first. Oh my god, I made a delicious chicken pasta pesto today. But I think I went a little overboard with like the garlic powder. No. I have to be honest. I know I went way overboard with my garlic powder, as one does. I didn't have like fresh cloves of garlic, but like definitely ate way too much garlic tonight. So every time I'm like having these tiny, tiny burps, I'm just smelling garlic. Oh, I don't mind. I just know that other people around me might mind. And thankfully, y'all can smell through the camera, so that's good. That's very good. All right. Discovery number 2. So we've got an image of a person underwater with like one of those suction thingies to like suck up all the archaeological goods and artifacts and stuffs. Awesome. Sunken harbor secrets revealed in underwater survey. No way! Survey! Beneath the calm waters of the coast of the Asini archaeological site, a team of international researchers has uncovered new evidence of an ancient harbor that once served as an important maritime hub. The latest underwater survey, carried out from September 29th until October 1st in 2025, offers fresh insight into how this coastal settlement responded to changing sea levels and shifting trade patterns over time. The submerged remains lie just east of Tolo, in a location long valued for its strategic position. But before we continue, Tolo Asini Archaeological Site, where the hell in the world are we, people? So, where is Tolo located? That looks Greek. Yes, it is Greek. And it is that considered mainland? In the Peloponnese Peninsula. Ah, fancy. Very fancy. Ooh. Tolo. Very, very fancy. So I think that is still, I mean, you can drive there. So yeah, consider that mainland. But it's a peninsula. Awesome. Now we know where the fridge we are. Because otherwise we had no clue. Just no clue. Alright. With a naturally sheltered harbor and a defensible hilltop, Asini drew human settlement from prehistoric times through to later historic periods. What has only recently become clear, however, is the scale and complexity of its port infrastructure. Very nice, very nice. Yeah, dredging for archaeology. I'm not the biggest fan of dredging. The 2025 campaign forms part of a 5-year research program launched in 2022, so they still have a year left. That's good. Building on earlier exploratory work. Over several field seasons, researchers have mapped what appears to be a substantial artificial harbor installation. At the center of this discovery lies a broad, man-made plateau that is still lying in shallow water. At first sight, it may seem like a random mixture of stones. A closer look, supported by detailed 3-dimensional models generated recently, shows a more defined picture. Stone-built features can be identified, some in almost square formation, others on carefully chosen stones. Okay, so here we've got a find here, apparently, and then there might be something here in the 3. Oh, okay. How deep is this? I have no clue. I don't think that they showed us anything about the depth of the site. No. Not seeing anything about the depth of the site. No clue. Maybe they'll say it later in the text, but yeah, I think it sunk a little and water levels rose since then. To better understand these features, archaeologists removed stones from 3 of the structures in search of datable material. The results were limited but informative. Only 2 pottery fragments were recovered. Even so, the team believes that the square formations represent the remains of pier foundations. These were likely constructed using wooden frameworks, or caissons, filled with stone. As the timber decayed over time, only the stone elements survived. kind of makes sense. Previous research had already indicated that the main plateau dates to the Roman period, based on amphora fragments found within it. Its defined edges and layout resemble a quay that once stood above sea level. As sea levels gradually rose, the structure would have become submerged. The later addition of piers on top of this submerged platform likely enabled the harbor to remain in use for loading and unloading goods. Taken together, the findings suggest a harbor that evolved over time, initially built in the Roman period and subsequently adapted to changing environmental conditions. Ongoing analysis of recovered material and digital survey data is expected to refine the chronology and provide a clearer understanding of how the port operated within the wider region. The Greek side of the project is led by Dr. Panagiota Galiatsatsu, while the Swedish team is headed by Professor Ann-Louise Schallin and Dr. Niklas Eriksson. Their work continues to build a more detailed picture of Assini's maritime past. Full results are due to be published in forthcoming academic journals, offering further insight into a harbor that, although now submerged, once played a significant role in coastal life. Okay, we've got number 2 down. Awesomes. All right. Time for me to see it. So no idea how deep this is, but okay. All right. All right. So, okay. Oh man, this is nothing, my browser tabs. If you think this is bad, you should see my actual Chrome browser that I use for my research. I've got 7 Chrome windows open at the moment. One of those is the live stream, so we can only count 6. And of those 6, I have my main one. This is bad, people. My main Chrome browser has 4. They're always open. Then my socials, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then my emails, all of my emails. So that's 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. Yeah, okay, so that's 28. And that's just my first Chrome window. Then we have one of my video research windows, that's 6. So in total we are at 34. Then we have my Doggerland research window. And of course I also use the book Doggerland. So, I mean, really, that whole book is like 10 Chrome windows in itself, honestly. Plus, I've already written 2 entire scripts on Doggerland, so I'm also pulling from the scripts, and I don't need to like research the entire thing. But so we were at 34, so that's 35, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's 40, 41, 2, 3, 4, 44, 44 Chrome tabs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for yet another video. So that's 50 Chrome tabs now. Then we have 3 here for that video. So that's 53. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for my merchandise and the stuff I'm using for that. So that is 61, 62 Chrome tabs. And that's not even like counting the tabs that I closed on like windows that I bookmarked and like saved as research projects. So yeah. So really, if you think this here for this live stream is bad, don't look at the rest of my computer, because it's bad. If I look at like how much memory is that taking, let's see, Google Chrome, it's at 6,785 MB. So that's about, yeah, let's say 40% of my entire memory is just running on Chrome. So yeah, here we go. And let's continue with like the discoveries, because that's we want these chrome tabs to disappear and only have the last 3 left before the end of the evening. So yeah. That's why I bought a new computer last year, because I had to. So we got coins, and coins are awesome. So a Roman camp discovery linked to the Battle of Pydna. Archaeologists working in southwestern Bulgaria have uncovered compelling evidence of a temporary Roman military camp potentially linked to the aftermath of the Battle of Pydna, one of antiquity's clashes that reshaped the entire world. So this is Roman. These coins, they are Roman. So yeah, really cool. And also to everyone coming into like the chats and everything, welcome. Happy to see you. I think I saw someone say that they're gonna join me in Turkey. Wait. I think I saw that, but like I was blacking out. I think the Andrew Cannon. Let's hear about the Anatolia trip, and then didn't he not say anything after? I might have like dreamt that. I think so. I think I dreamt that then. Okay. Well, probably misheard that or just saw something. I don't know. I really thought I saw something about it, but well, if you're still here in the chat, in like the YouTube chat, and you did say that, please let me know again, because now I'm like wondering if I'm like, am I gaslighting myself in remembering that, or it's possible. It's very possible. I've got a weird mind, but like somehow I remember that, reading that, but okay. So, we have this discovery that was made near the village of Polanica during rescue excavations along the Struma motorway. The archaeological team led by Dr. Sirma Alexandrova of the National Archaeological Institute with Museum at the Bulgarian Academy. Wow, that was word vomit out of my brain. So, Dr. Sirma Alexandrova of the National Archaeological Institute with Museum at the Bulgarian Academy of Sciences, that's a weird sentence though, unearthed a range of artifacts including coins, arrowheads, iron tent pegs, and even shoelace fittings. Earlier investigations at the same site had revealed roof tiles, wall remains constructed from river stones and clay, and traces of torchlight activity. I'm afraid that they left. Yeah, I thought so too. Oh, hey, William Pals. Hello. Welcome on the TikTok chat. Always good to see you. Always good to see. All right, so based on these findings, Dr. Alexandrova proposes that the site represents a short-lived Roman encampment established in 168 BCE. Shortly after the Roman victory over King Perseus of Macedon, the camp is thought to have been used to exert control over the nearby city of Heraclea Setica, a strategically important settlement in the Middle Struma Valley. Numismatic evidence, I've seen this word more often. I have looked up what it means more than once, and I keep forgetting what it means. So, what does it mean? Numismatic means, ew, go away with your, oh yeah, this is just so helpful, people, from English to Dutch. Are you guys seeing this? Like, so I wanted to know what this word means, and it literally translates it to like Dutch, which is just the exact same word. And I still have no clue what the fudge it means. So, numismatics is the study or collection of currency, including coins, tokens, paper, money, metals, and related objects. Oh, it's a collection of currency, including coins. So, this is like, this was super not helpful. Thank you, Google Translate, for like fully not helping me there. Just none. So, the They have evidence of coins that supports this interpretation. Among the coins recovered, and here they talk about coins, like why did you need to like sound that smart there? Why? Among the coins recovered are specimens from Amphipolis dating from 187 to 168 BCE. And pottery fragments from the same period were also identified across the decker. What's this? Just say 3,000 square meters. Like, why did the person, oh my gosh, every week, every time when I read articles, they come up with like the weirdest stuff to like say the most normal things. Like, you could have just used the normal English language. No, but you had to like sound super posh and like, look at me, I'm so smart. You want normal people to read your articles, not? Like, right? Like, that's what you want. Why make it so fucking difficult? No one wants to read this word vomit. Okay, so pottery fragments from the same period were also identified across the 3,000 square meter site, situated on a non-flooded terrace of the Sandanska Bistrica River. Notably, there is no evidence of destruction by fire or conflict, suggesting that the camp was abandoned peacefully after brief use. Historical sources indicate that between 2,000 and 3,000 fighters from Heraclea Sintica joined Perseus before his defeat by the Roman general Lucius Aemilius Paulus. Following the battle, Paulus reportedly dispatched his officer Publius Cornelius Scipio Nasica to suppress potential resistance in the region, possibly including orders to destroy Heraclea Sintica to prevent it aiding the fleeing Macedonian king. The newly discovered camp near Polonitsa lends weight to these accounts, indicating a swift Roman military presence aimed at consolidating control in the Balkans. Ongoing excavations at Heraclea Sintica itself, led by Professor Lyudmil Vagalinsky and Dr. Alexandrova, have already revealed signs of destruction dating to this period. Whether the city was entirely destroyed or subdued into submission remains an open question. As further research continues, archaeologists hope to clarify the fate of one of the region's most significant ancient urban centers in the turbulent aftermath of Rome's victory at Pydna. Okay. I mean, the information itself is good. Like, I enjoy these discoveries. It's just that some of these articles are just such word vomit. Why? Like, people, why? Tell me. Tell me why ain't nothing but a party. Alright, that's enough Backstreet Boys for everyone. My apologies, my absolute sincerest apologies. I didn't even listen to boy bands growing up. I was a Spice Girls lady, and that was just my jam. Okay? Sorry. Exactly, dude is writing to impress, but no one understands a damn thing. Like, so annoying. Alright, so, over 100,000 artifacts unearthed during excavations in Zamosk region. No idea of Eastern Poland. So more than 100,000 archaeological artifacts have been uncovered during the construction of the S17 expressway in the Zamosk region of Eastern Poland. The discoveries include clay vessels, stone and flint tools, Neolithic burial sites, and even mammoth remains, offering valuable insight into the area's long and complex history. The S17 route connects Warsaw with Lublin and is being extended towards the Polish-Ukrainian border in Hrebena. How do I pronounce this? Because I'm not great at Polish. Hrebena. Okay. Oh, Hrebena. Okay. Hrebena. I can do that. Hrebena. So it's extended towards the Polish-Ukrainian border in Hrebena. As part of this major infrastructure project, archaeological surveys were commissioned and are being conducted under the supervision of heritage conservation authorities. This is a tremendous opportunity for archaeology. We are identifying a large number of sites across a wide area. We are acquiring a substantial amount of historical material, which is then analyzed in terms of chronology, culture, production technology, and ornamentation, said Wisław Koman, an archaeologist from the Zamość branch of the Voivodeship Office for the Protection of Monuments in Lublin. Okay. Welcome, Yamais. Welcome. Always good to see you. Preliminary investigations began in November of 2024. Since then, archaeologists have recovered tens of pottery fragments. No idea. Is that just 10 pottery fragments? Is that tens of hundreds? Dozens? Thousands? Okay. What did they say here? They just said artifacts, so still not very helpful. So we have no idea, tens of something pottery fragments and tools, along with numerous traces of past settlements in areas such as Labuni, Barhashkov, Tarnawatka, Belchek, Kniazy, and Lubichka Królewska. No idea. I completely butchered that. So if anyone is Bulgarian in my chat, my sincere apologies for absolutely butchering those pronunciation. Like, oh, sorry, this was Polish. So sorry for the Polish people. My apologies. Like, I butchered that. So, a large area is being uncovered, clearly showing the outlines of residential buildings, their location in relation to farm buildings, wells, and the location of cemeteries, particularly those from the early Bronze Age. This represents a significant opportunity to conduct large-scale archaeological research, said Koman. The findings span multiple historical periods. Evidence ranges from modern-era remains, 18th to 19th centuries, and medieval settlements, the 8th until the 15th centuries, to early Slavic cemeteries, including cremation burials dating to the late 7th and early 8th centuries. Researchers believe that Slavic populations arrived in the region around that time. Even earlier finds are artifacts dating to the Roman times, the 2nd to 4th century CE. Bronze Age pottery of Trzcinich, 1700 until 1500 BCE, and Neolithic burial grounds, 2500 to 2000 BCE. These contained amphoras, stone axes, spearheads, and grinding tools, likely intended for use in the afterlife. Among the most notable finds are mammoth bones discovered in Labuni, tentatively dated between 100,000 and 12,000 BCE. These Ice Age animals once roamed the region and were hunted by early humans, who used their tusks for construction and tools. Excavation will continue throughout the construction process. So far, 22 sites remain to be examined, though more may be identified as work progresses. Many additional discoveries are expected, particularly around Old Zamość and the planned bypass area. All recovered artifacts will be studied and eventually transferred to museums. Okay. That's pretty cool. Especially, I think, the mammoth bones and tusks. That's really cool. Yeah, I don't know any Polish, like none. I know a swear word in Polish, one or two. That's about it. Most of my knowledge of other languages are just, swear words. Makes it easier. Like, I can't help it. So we have a lost Estonian stronghold found after 2,000 years. So here you can see, I think this is a picture of like a 3D or like a LiDAR scan where you can like kind of see the outline of the fortress or like stronghold. Pretty cool. Archaeological investigations in southern Estonia have identified a substantial fortified site near Kambja in Tartu County, offering new material evidence relevant to discussions of early settlement patterns in the Baltic region. The discovery The discovery contributes to a growing body of research that questions earlier assumptions about the scale and complexity of communities in this area during the late pre-Roman Iron Age. The site, known as Küstrimägi, was hidden in thick vegetation until recently, although 19th century archival sources and regional oral traditions refer to a fortified location in the vicinity. Its location and extent had not yet been established. The application of high-resolution digital terrain modeling enabled, so like I said, LiDAR. Just say LiDAR. Makes it so much easier. Okay. So the application of high-resolution digital terrain modeling enabled researchers to detect subtle topographic anomalies, which were confirmed on the ground as a large structure of about 4,800 square meters. Preliminary excavation has revealed a multi-tiered defensive configuration. The fortification consists of a sequence of low-stepped platforms arranged concentrically, rising from a surrounding ditch. This arrangement suggests a controlled way of entering and leaving the site, and the defensive system is based on elevation differences rather than the existence of vertical walls. The height variation that survives seems to be modest, but may have been more pronounced before erosion and sedimentation had become an issue. According to Professor Heikki Falk, the structural characteristics of Küstrimägi diverge from typical Estonian fortification forms of the period. Instead, they exhibit closer parallels with sites identified in present-day Latvia, suggesting shared construction practices or broader regional interaction networks. A chronological assessment based on radiocarbon dating supported by ceramic typology places the site's occupation between 41 BCE and 9 CE. The archaeological record indicates a relatively brief period of use with no substantial evidence for long-term habitation or repeated phases of construction. Artifactual assemblages suggest a limited but functionally diverse occupation, potentially encompassing both defensive and domestic activities. And I need to breathe. Whoo! Sometimes you need to just breathe. Evidence of burning is present across multiple excavation areas. The distribution of charred materials implies a destructive event, although the specific context, whether conflict-related or otherwise, remains unresolved. In sum, Küstrimägi provides important insights into fortification strategies and settlement organization in the Eastern Baltic during the Late Iron Age. This site is currently under protection, and ongoing research aims to refine its chronology, functional interpretation, and broader cultural significance. Really cool. So if anyone is from Estonia or speaks Estonian, and I just completely butchered those names, also, my sincere apologies. Like, I never meant to, hurt their feelings. I'm so sorry. But yeah, really cool. And next. So look at us. We're flying through it. So many tabs already closed. I'm already losing count of how many we already covered. But it's fine. I promise. It's going to be fine. Pre-Hispanic and contemporary equinoctial or equinoctial. What a weird different word for equinoctial. You could have just said equinoxal, yes. Celestial equator, equinoctial circle. Why? Okay, so it's a stupid word. It's a stupid word. So yeah, this is like a round pyramid. A burial mound, probably, or like a mound at least. Alright, so pre-Hispanic and contemporary equinoctial alignments confirmed in Kukulco, or Kikilco. How? Look at me struggling today. How to pronounce whatever. Quiquilco. Okay, so Quiquilco. Okay, now at least we can speak a little bit. An archaeoastronomical study has confirmed that both ancient and contemporary structures at the Quiquilco archaeological zone in southern Mexico City are aligned with equinoctial sunrises, reinforcing the theories about the site's long-standing astronomical significance. And this is probably one of those structures. Researchers from Mexico's National Institute of Anthropology and History, the INAH, mentioned them many times, working through the National School of Anthropology and History, the ENAH, suggest that Quiquilco is one of Mesoamerica's earliest urban settlements, that was deliberately designed in relation to the spring equinox. Central to this alignment is Papayo Hill, where the sun rises during equinoctial dawns. Okay, equinoctial dawns. They really want to sound smart here. Very unnecessary, but okay. According to lead researcher Aaron Uriel Gonzalez Benitez, an archaeoastronomer, the apparent path of the sun over the horizon corresponds with key periods in the pre-Hispanic calendar. Wow. I have no clue how to pronounce okay. Hate the AI bullshit. So Sempowallapowali. Sempowallapowali. Okay. That's gonna be that's your last name. Okay, so Sempowallapowali calendar. Specifically, the equinox appears to coincide with the Tostostontli and the Teotletco 20-day cycles. The Teotleco. I can do this. Come on, people. The Tostostontli and Teotleco 20-day cycles. See? Associated with dates close to March 24th and September 20th. While the globalization of the spring equinox links this phenomenon to March 20 or 21, there are other types of equinoxes, such as the middle equinox, which indicates the midpoint between the horizontal solstices, or the cultural equinox, defined by the contextual calendar of a human group with respect to the equidistance of the apparent path of the sun over the horizon. The study also highlights that several modern ENAH buildings, including its main structure, annex, library, and research tower, share a near perfect eastward orientation, ranging between 89 and 90 degrees azimuth. This positioning aligns closely with the direction of sunrise during equinoxes. The phenomenon was directly observed and confirmed by the research team on March 23, 2026. Notably, this alignment extends beyond the ENAH campus. Nearby urban features, such as the grid layout of the Isidro Fabelo neighborhood, also follow a similar orientation. Researchers suggest that this may echo much older patterns established by pre-Hispanic structures at Quiquilco A and B. Okay. Architectural evidence supports this continuity. Buildings with Quiquilco B display geometric planning and orientations that align with Papayo Hill and equinoctial sunrise points. These features are believed to represent some of the earliest forms of astronomical architecture in the region. In pre-Hispanic societies, urban centers were often conceived as cosmic hubs, where spatial design reflected celestial cycles, and this architecture landscape-sun relationship allowed communities to mark significant calendrical events. While it remains unclear whether modern urban planning in the area intentionally preserved these alignments, researchers describe the overlap as a striking coincidence. They argue it strengthens Quiquilco's identity as a site where ancient knowledge continues to resonate. Academics at the ENAH emphasize that these findings not only preserve cultural memory, but also offer valuable educational opportunities linking contemporary scholarship with Mexico's pre-Hispanic heritage. Okay. That's okay. So honestly, that's pretty damn cool, if you ask me. Not that you were asking me, I understand. But still, I personally think it's pretty cool. Right, so we've already arrived at April 9th, and we're about 45 minutes into the stream. Pretty damn good. So, look at us. We still have a long way to go, so let's continue. So, they found a temple complex dedicated to a local deity that was unearthed in the northern Sinai desert. And here you can see that round shape of this temple complex, like that's the outer, one of those like outer layers, I think. Really cool. But yeah, some people said that the previous picture from like the previous discovery was already looking like an alien spaceship. Well, then what's this with like mud bricks? Must be alien too, right? Do they have carbonated apple juice in the Netherlands? Well, yeah, and usually they come with alcohol, but this is the 0.0 version. So this one has no alcohol, but it's still a cider, an apple cider. And it is carbonated. It does make me burp a little bit sometimes. But yeah, that's part of life. Oh well. But it is delicious, with or without alcohol. It just depends on your mood if you want alcohol or not. So, an Egyptian archaeological mission has uncovered the remains of a previously unknown temple dedicated to a local god at Tel El Farama in the ancient city of Pelusium. After 6 years of systematic excavation, the team, working under the Supreme Council of Antiquities, revealed a distinctive religious complex that experts say could reshape interpretations of Pelusium's role in the ancient world. That's pretty cool. So again, here you can see it. Pretty damn cool. Minister of Tourism and Antiquities Sharif Fatih hailed the discovery as a milestone, emphasizing North Sinai's strategic and archaeological importance. He noted that ongoing excavations continue to uncover sites of considerable historical value, contributing to broader scientific knowledge and global heritage research. According to Dr. Hisham Liti, Secretary General of the Supreme Council of Antiquities, the find highlights Pelusium's central role as a crossroads for religious and cultural exchange. This discovery demonstrates the city's influence in transmitting ideas across civilizations, he said, pointing to architectural elements that were... Wow. He said, pointing to architectural elements that blend ancient Egyptian traditions with Hellenistic and Roman styles. The temple's remains comprise a substantial circular basin approximately 35 meters in diameter attached to a branch of the ancient Pelusiac Nile. Archaeologists believe that the basin once held water symbolically linked to the Nile's fertile silt, possibly reflecting the identity of the deity Blosius, whose name may derive from the Greek word for clay. This is probably unfermented, but I have no idea. Yeah, I don't see anything telling me about it, so no idea. I have not yet covered anything about the Patagonians. No. At least not to my recollection. It's been about 6 years since I started making videos, and I've made about 400 of them. So, yeah, it's a little bit sweet. And now it's empty. My favorite history site, asked by Num in the TikTok chat. That's going to be Karahan Tepe in Turkey. So I will type that out for you. Karahan Tepe. And that's located in southeast Turkey, or Turkey. And I'm going there again in September. So that's going to be my third time, or like third year in a row visiting Karahan Tepe and a bunch of other ancient sites in Turkey. Love that. Okay, so Surrounding the basin is an advanced system of water channels, with a central square base thought to have supported the statue of the god. Stratigraphic evidence indicates that the site remained in use from the 2nd century BCE through the 6th century CE, undergoing only minor architectural modifications over time. Dr. Hisham Hussain, head of the Central Department for Maritime Antiquities and Sinai. Oh, that's a weird sentence. Dr. Hisham Hussain, head of the Central Department for Maritime Antiquities and Sinai and supervisor of the excavation, said early findings in 2019 showed only about a quarter of the circular structure. It was tentatively identified at the time as a civic building, possibly a senate. Ongoing excavation and comparative studies have completely changed our understanding, Hussain said. We now know that this was a sacred water installation used in religious rituals, not a political structure. Consultations with international experts, including classical archaeology scholars from the Sorbonne in Paris, supported the reinterpretation and helped confirm the building's ritual function. This finding not only sheds light on local religious practices, but also underscores the complex cultural interactions between Egypt and the wider Mediterranean world during antiquity. Archaeologists say further study of the site may shed more light on the spiritual life and regional influence of ancient Pelusium. I mean, if I had millionaires in my chat, I would have loved it if they would like send me, I don't know, 100K or something. If any millionaire watches me, like, hello, help a girl out. I'm driving a car with like a broken air conditioner. Like, no display, no air conditioning. It's rough, man. Like, finally we have sun, but now I'm like baking in my car, like dying. Ugh. Okay, so this was what that circular temple structure looked like. It was very nice. So, yeah. Very excited to see what else they will uncover in that region. So, we got a picture of an excavation going on. Want to learn more? Okay, let's sit back, enjoy. So, ritual space, settlement, and social memory at Råcksta in Södermanland. And this is in Sweden. I mean, the trees kind of gave it away, probably. But it could have been Norway as well. But like this, it's in Sweden. I looked that up front. Like, this is the one I was like, huh, where the hell is that? Yeah. A large-scale archaeological investigation is currently underway at Råcksta, located northeast of Nyköping, where archaeologists are examining a site characterized by long-term stratified human activity. The area has been identified as one of Södermanland's almost perfect, but like word vomit. The area has been identified as one of Södermanland's more complex archaeological landscapes containing material evidence spanning from the Stone Age to the Late Iron Age. The excavation, covering approximately 16,000 square meters, is being undertaken in advance of construction associated with the Östlanken high-speed railway. While the project is development-led, the scale and preservation of the site provide a significant opportunity to investigate diachronic patterns of settlement, land use, and ritual practice within a defined geographical area. Råcksta presents a multi-period archaeological context in which successive phases of activity are superimposed. The earliest securely dated features originate in the Bronze Age around 1400 BCE, while later material extends into the Late Iron Age, approximately 800 CE. Rather than representing discrete, isolated occupations, the site appears to have been repeatedly reused. Evidence for habitation, agricultural activity, and mortuary practices coexist within the same spatial framework. Notably, Bronze Age features, including fire-cracked stone concentrations and structural remains, are located beneath later Iron Age burial context. This stratigraphic relationship suggests that both continuity and reinterpretation of the landscape happened across generations. Such patterns raise questions regarding cultural memory, particularly whether later communities were aware of the earlier activity and intentionally integrated it into their own spatial practices. Okay. The initial phase of fieldwork is focused on an Iron Age burial ground comprising approximately 70 graves. The majority of these are attributed to the late Iron Age, somewhere between 700 and 800 CE, although earlier burials from the early Iron Age, around 0 to 500 CE, are also present. Preliminary observations indicate a non-uniform spatial organization. Graves are distributed across the terrain in both elevated positions and clustered groupings, suggesting deliberate placement rather than random deposition. This spatial variability may reflect social differentiation, kinship structures, or chronological development within the burial ground. From a broader perspective, burial sites of this type functioned not only as locations of interment, but also as focal points for social and ritual activity. The potential identification of associated practices, such as commemorative visits, offerings, or other forms of engagement with the dead, may contribute to a more nuanced understanding of Iron Age mortuary behavior. Results from a preliminary investigation conducted in 2024 provide insight into the composition of the buried population and associated material culture. The graves contain individuals of varying age groups, indicating a stable and multi-generational community. Certain burials include faunal remains, notably from horses and chickens. You hear that? They buried chickens. Guys, they buried chickens. I've never heard about like ancient people in ancient times, burying chickens. Chickens were like food. Like you just eat them. Scatter the bones wherever. Like certain burials include faunal remains, notably from horses and chickens, which may be interpreted as indicators of status or symbolic practices linked to belief systems. Additional grave goods, including glass beads and comb fragments, suggest both personal adornment and access to non-local materials. Evidence of craft production is also present, with finds associated with metalworking, ceramics, and worked bone. These materials imply a degree of economic and social connectivity, indicating that the community participated in broader exchange networks rather than existing in isolation. Yeah, you bury your chicken in satay sauce. Exactly! You bury your chicken in a satay sauce and then you eat them. Exactly. They may have been deceased, that's true. Yeah, they may have been deceased. But still, it's still weird for them to like actually bury chicken. Like, I have never heard about that. Never. So yeah, no, it's so weird. Why would you bury a chicken? So, okay, in addition to mortuary context, the site contains evidence suggestive of nearby settlement activity. Features identified during preliminary work point to occupation during the late Roman Iron Age through the Vendel period, which lasted from 550 to 700 CE. Although the full extent of the settlement may not be recoverable, several indicators are noteworthy. Artifacts such as an axe suggest on-site metalworking, while terraced surfaces and structural remains imply organized land use, potentially linked to agriculture and domestic architecture. The spatial relationship between settlement and burial areas is of particular interest as it may reflect patterns of land ownership, social organization, or cosmological structuring within the landscape. Roksta is a remarkable site of potential interpretative significance due to its temporal depth and the apparent continuity of use. The co-presence of settlement, agricultural, and ritual features in a single area allows for a fuller understanding of how landscapes were inhabited, structured, and given significance over long timescales. This change between an earlier historical phase of activities dominated by domestic and subsistence-based activities towards the end of the timeline with a much heavier focus on burial and ritual practices may account for wider socio-cultural transformations in the region. And breathe again. Okay, so, yes, breathing is hard. Were they holy chickens? I mean, anything's possible, people. Like, anything is possible. So yeah, it's very it could be. Can't make any promises, but I mean, it could be. Okay, so. Alright, so. Additional analysis will be conducted. Let me just... Why is Twitch being weird? Just play the live stream. Don't be weird. Twitch, come on. Alright, so. Additional analysis will be conducted during the process of excavation to refine the chronological framework and elucidate the connections between different phases of activity. Particular focus is to be given to the stratigraphic sequencing, patterns of artifact distribution, and environmental data. That is why the Råcksta site is relevant for this study in terms of long-term human engagement with the landscape in central Sweden, and to contribute to wider discussions of settlement dynamics, social organization, and ritual practice during the Bronze and Iron Age. Whoo! Breathe. So again, all the way to the top here you can see them doing that first little bit of archaeological work, which is honestly just awesome. I like that they do that. But that was a long article to read. Like, damn. Quite a long one. I never expected it to be that long. Oof. Oof. Okay. I don't think my streams have many commercials though, because I don't have a paid, like, I don't have enough followers to get paid by Twitch. So I mean so yeah. And it says that someone may be watching, but like they haven't said a thing, so I mean I probably could just turn off the Twitch and no one would bat an eye, but like I'm trying to like do this whole multi-stream thing on Twitch, TikTok, and YouTube. So yeah. Alright. Okay, so everything's good. Broken weapons in a Chinese tomb reveals enduring philosophy of peace. Archaeologists working near, I think that was a Zhe, so Zhan, in northwest China have uncovered a western... Ooh, I've never needed to pronounce anything like this. How to pronounce... Probably just Zhou. Zhou. Jump, Joe. Okay, so it's Joe. Okay, so archaeologists working near the Zhan in northwest China have uncovered a Western Zhou dynasty burial site that is offering fresh insight into ancient attitudes towards war, memory, and the philosophy of peace. The site dates back to the Western Zhou period from 10,046 to 771 BCE, a time often associated with political change, territorial expansion, and, at times, internal conflict. But what the archaeologists discovered inside several of the graves told a quieter, more contemplative story. Among the pottery and other everyday items were bronze daggers and knives that had been deliberately broken before being placed with the dead. The damage at first would probably have suggested conflict or looting. Instead, researchers believe that the opposite is actually true. It seems the weapons were intentionally bent or snapped during burial as part of a funerary rite. Rather than equipping the dead for battle in the next world, those arranging the burial may have been signaling a wish for rest or even a release from violence altogether. Yu Pengfei, an archaeologist involved in the excavation, has suggested that these altered objects were likely offerings meant to guide the deceased into a peaceful afterlife. In that sense, the act of breaking the weapons may have carried symbolic weight, transforming tools of war into markers of its end. The idea is not without precedent. Ancient Chinese texts refer to a concept often translated as stopping war's true valor. A phrase linked to the oh my god, how to pronounce, I can't I can't. I gotta fix this. Zhuo Juan. Zhuo Juan. Zhuo Juan. Okay, Zhuo Juan. No idea. So it's a phrase linked to the Zhuo Juan, a historical work compiled centuries after the Western Zhou period, but drawing on earlier traditions. While the text is known for its accounts of political maneuvering and military campaigns, it also reflects on the moral responsibilities of rulers and the limits of warfare. The burial site itself contains 13 graves, along with ash pits and traces of a surrounding ditch or moat. The arrangement is irregular, with no obvious overarching plan, which may point to changing practices over time or differences in status among those buried there. Among the other finds were ceramic vessels, tripod jars, bowls, and storage pots, suggesting that food and drink offerings played a role in the funerary process. What stands out most is the contrast between the historical settings and the message implied by the finds. The Western Zhou era saw the development of key political ideas, including the Mandate of Heaven, used to justify the rise and fall of my mouth is not functioning. Oh, hello, Patrick McCarthy on the Twitch. We have a viewer on the Twitch, people. Woohoo! Look at me being awesome. So the Western Zhou era saw the development of key political ideas, including the Mandate of Heaven, used to justify the rise and fall of ruling powers. It was not a period untouched by conflict, yet within this context, the decision to disable weapons before burial hints at a more personal or philosophical response to that reality. Finds like these rarely offer straightforward answers. Still, the broken blade suggests that even in a world where warfare was a constant presence, there was room for a different kind of legacy, one that placed value on ending conflict rather than continuing it. Oh my god, we've got 2 people watching on the Twitch. Yo, look at me. I'm one day I will be such a Twitch streamer, guys. Like one day, even though I only stream once a week and it really isn't enough, but still. Thanks for watching, you guys. We've got Patrick and it's Errol on the Twitch. And I think we still have Tommy on TikTok, but we might have lost Tommy. I'm not sure. So, okay. Next up. 10,000 years of human occupation on the Onsala Peninsula. I think this was Sweden as well, but I might be wrong, so. Tommy is still here on the TikToks. Awesome. That's cool, that's cool. One day I'll be like an actual content creator instead of just me, I don't know, winging it, hoping for the best. Oh. Okay, so construction of a new section of road 940 on the Onsala Peninsula in Sweden is giving archaeologists a rare chance to look deep into the area's past, all the way back to the first people who settled there after the Ice Age. So we're going like all the way back. Like, wait. Oh wow, we actually have more people. So now we got like 5 viewers, but 3 of those are, I think, actual viewers, and like 1 is me because I have to have it open on my phone because the multi-stream chat for Twitch doesn't work on the computer. Very annoying, but oh well, it's fine. And we have a bot, even though I don't think the bot works anymore, but that's fine. Someone told me to like install a bot or whatever on the Twitch, and I did that once and never really looked at it again, so I'm not even sure if this bot is still in use. It's fine. So we're streaming everywhere. So, before work begins on the Rösan Forsberg stretch, researchers will investigate 15 known archaeological sites along the route. The remains span thousands of years, from early Stone Age camps to farms that were still in use into the 1800s. The work, commissioned by the County Administrative Board of Highland, is expected to build a clearer picture of how people lived on the peninsula and how the landscape changed over time. One of the most intriguing sites dates back to around 10,000 years ago. Back then, the area looked very different. The shoreline sat much higher, and what is now inland was once a coastal strip where small groups of hunter-gatherer fished and hunted and gathered food. These camps were likely used seasonally, especially during the summer. Evidence from this period has survived in unusual ways. Flint tools have been found buried nearly 2 meters below the surface, preserved under layers of sand and gravel. And these deposits formed when rising sea levels, caused by, melting ice sheets, temporarily flooded the area thousands of years ago. As the sea later retreated, the land re-emerged, leaving the remains sealed behind sediment, or beneath sediment. Later finds show that people returned to the same locations thousands of years later. By around 4000 BCE, the climate had become much milder, forests had spread, and early forms of farming were beginning to take hold. The story becomes clearer in the Bronze and Iron Ages. Settlements grew more permanent, with longhouses and farmsteads appearing across the landscape. People relied increasingly on agriculture and livestock, and over time small communities began to form around arable land. Archaeologists expect to find not just homes, but also places used for seasonal work and gatherings, including cooking sites and areas that may have had ritual importance. Graves from these periods are also scattered across Onsala, often placed in prominent locations, and they offer clues about beliefs and social structures and how communities mark their presence in the landscape. Another key site is Taragarden, a farm with roots in the late Middle Ages. While the buildings are long gone, traces beneath the ground may reveal how generations lived and worked there, combining farming with crafts and seafaring. As the excavations get underway, the team hopes to piece together a continuous story of life on Onsala, from its earliest settlers to more recent rural communities. Public tours are planned, giving visitors a chance to see the work up close as history is uncovered step by step. That's awesome. That's kind of awesome. So yeah, no idea what this is, but it looks like a ball of poop. That's just my educated guess. There's nothing educated about that, but it's fine. It's fine. It honestly looks like a ball of poop. So yeah, make of that what you will. What did the chat do? Someone said, you are a content creator. Kinda, but also, I fucking wing it, I have no fucking clue what the fudge I'm doing. I just make videos on what I find interesting, and sometimes I have to make a video because I have a sponsorship deal, which means that I need to make a quick video, not one that's going to take like 45 minutes, like in total, like the video itself. Because researching a long video takes weeks instead of days. And yeah, I've been promising a Doggerland documentary since late December, and tomorrow it's gonna be May. Sorry, it's gonna be the 1st of May. That was really too memey. I'm so sorry. That was a nostalgic NSYNC. It's gonna be May. But yeah, so that's been like, what, 5.5 months almost? Yeah, I'm slow. Like, not dumb, but like I'm slow when it comes to like my work. I'm chronically ill, and it's just, But May the 4th be with you. It's almost there. So, it's okay. It's fine. And yes, again, Barry is reminding me, don't forget the Neanderthals. I know, Barry, it's going to take like at least another 2 years. Sorry. Like, I know, it was about 2.5 years ago when I made the announcement that I was going to work on a Doggerland, a Neanderthal documentary. And there are just way too many discoveries when it comes to Neanderthals, and that's completely ruining my script every time. So like I work on the script for like a couple hours, and then I have to put it aside because I have to work on a video for like that week. And then in that week, 1 or 2 discoveries come to light about Neanderthals, and like chunks of my entire script that I've already written in the past has to be rewritten because the discoveries change everything. So that's gonna be like 2 years at least. Sorry. Ancient rock art discovered in Hidalgo. A set of newly recorded rock carvings and paintings have been identified at El Venado site in Hidalgo, offering further insight into the area's long history of human activity. Like, look at this. I have no clue what this is depicting, but it looks like a rabbit. I'm just saying, it looks like a rabbit. I don't actually use any AI in any of the stuff that I work on. Like, just none. I don't want to. I prefer doing things myself. I know that AI tools can make things a lot easier and faster. But at the same time, like, I want to have my own interpretations of what I read and what I research and what I learn. And then put that on top of you guys. And like, this is what I learned, so now I'm sharing that with you. Yeah. But okay. But I think this is a rabbit. So my name is now Alice, and I'm going to follow the rabbit. Yeah, I'm the Doggerland documentary. It is still coming. Like, I promise, 1,000,000% it's still coming. But yeah, I just can't promise when right now. It depends on like how many sponsorships I have in between, because that's taking chunks away from the time I normally work on like documentary stuff. But okay. The findings were made during survey work linked to the Mexico City Querétaro passenger rail project led by Mexico's National Institute of Anthropology and History. Archaeologists documented 16 features, including both petroglyphs and painted images, located on 2 rocky slopes near the Tula River and La Requena Dam, close to the communities of San Jose Acapulco and Benito Juarez. Initial assessments suggest that the images were created over a long period, from prehistoric times through to the Mesoamerican post-classic era, which is around 900 to 1521 CE. Most of the painted forms, now partially faded, are thought to date back more than 4,000 years. That's quite a long time. Among the figures identified are human-like forms with distinct clothing and ornaments. One appears to carry a chimali or shield, while another shows features linked to Tlaloc, including goggle-like eyes and a headdress. Other markings include a stylized face, a 4-legged animal, possibly a deer, and red areas with a contrasting white band. Inside a nearby rock shelter, researchers recorded additional images, including a red-painted figure and a long, narrow shape that may represent a snake or a bolt of lightning. Although some details are no longer clear, their placement and style point to early origins. Okay. This might be the deer. I have no clue. Absolutely not. So yeah, some of them are glyphs and others are like more like paintings. So, yeah. Project coordinator Victor Francisco Heredia Guillen said that the site was documented in early January of 2026. Analysis so far indicates that mineral or plant-based pigments were used for the paintings, while the carved designs were made using repeated pointed marks. Archaeologist Abel Jose Romero Garcia noted that several of the images remain well preserved and may be linked to later phases of activity connected to the nearby Tula area. The location itself is not new to researchers. It was first recorded in the 1970s during fieldwork led by Eduardo Matos Moctezuma, when a painted deer figure was identified. That earlier find gave the site its current name. The position of the images suggests that they may have been linked to ritual practices or seasonal observations. Really cool. Additional figures near the Tula River include forms that combine human and animal traits, some resembling imagery associated with the Mogollon culture. One example, thought to date from the early colonial period, appears to reflect later cultural influences. Plans for the railway had originally included a route through the area. In October of 2025, President Claudia Sheinbaum confirmed that the line would be adjusted to avoid this site. Officials said that the change would allow construction to continue while leaving the rock art undisturbed. Okay, take a moment, by the way, honestly, everyone, applause, take a moment, applause for President Claudia Sheinbaum. A lot in the past in Mexico has not gone great, especially with railway projects. I've said this in a previous live stream a couple weeks ago, especially with the Maya train railway project, because they've bulldozed over ancient ruins without excavating them first. And honestly, that makes my heart cry and my soul bleed. And that's not okay. So the fact that she has decided to change and adjust that railway line so that it would leave the rock art here undisturbed, that's amazing. That is honestly amazing. So I'm really happy that she did that, and I definitely commend her for that, and I respect her for it. So further study of the images is expected to continue with detailed recording aimed at clarifying their age and their meaning. So here you can see one of them. No idea what we're supposed to see here, but okay. It's a rock, and here we have some rock art. And then on the top here we have, I said it was a rabbit, it might be a human with a headdress. No idea, I just still want to say it's a rabbit. And what the hell, this is, I've got no clue. So your guess is as good as mine. So, yeah. Alright, so, next up. A seal tooth pendant reveals prehistoric trade routes. And this one is very old. Like, take a second to look at it, because it's very old. A small object found in Devon in the 1800s has taken on new meaning after researchers realized what it really is. A pendant made from a seal's tooth worn by a human living more than 15,000 years ago. The piece was originally uncovered during excavations at Kent's Cavern, a site long known for its importance in understanding early human history. At the time, it was catalogued but never fully understood, and for years experts thought that the tooth came from a land animal such as a badger or a wolf. But a closer look has now changed that. The tooth belonged to a grey seal, an animal that would have lived along the coast, and that detail matters because during the Ice Age, the cave sat over 100 kilometers inland. So the find raises questions about how the object traveled so far, whether carried by people moving across the landscape or passed between groups through exchange. The pendant itself shows clear signs of careful work. Whoever made it first removed the tooth from the seal's jaw, likely by breaking it open, and they then shaped it by grinding the root down before drilling a hole through it using a sharp flint tool. The hole allowed it to be threaded into a cord and worn. So here you can see again that tooth, the hole that has been drilled, and a cord. The cord is going to be modern, while the tooth is going to be ancient. I don't think cord survives up to like 15,000 years. It's possible that it does. It really, 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 really rarely ever happens. So the cord is going to be new. It also looked new, so like, yeah. Over time, the pendant became smooth and its edges softened by repeated use. The hole also widened slightly, suggesting that it was worn often and not kept aside. This was not a throwaway item. It likely had meaning for the people or the person who owned it. Researchers think that objects like this may have signaled identity or group belonging. A seal tooth, in particular, could hint at familiarity with coastal environments, even if the wearer was far inland at the time. Finds of this kind are rare. Only a handful of similar pendants from the same period have been recorded in Europe. That scarcity adds weight to the idea that such items held value beyond decoration. Kent's Cavern has been used by humans for tens of thousands of years, including both Neanderthals and Homo sapiens, and by the time this pendant was lost, it was modern humans who occupied the site, because Neanderthals, by this time, like 15,000 years ago, have gone extinct, or were completely assimilated into our species. So, like, whichever one you believe, 15,000 years ago, Neanderthals, they be gone. Like, that's just simple. Like, they gone. Its condition suggests that it may simply have been dropped and never recovered. Though small, the object adds another piece to the picture of how people lived, moved, and expressed themselves at the end of the last ice age. I really thought that this was cool. Yeah, they could have hunted seals and, like, depended on them for sustenance. Yeah, and then moved, like, maybe they hunted seals very seasonally. So, like, at certain months of the year, they would hunt seals, and then later on in the year, they would move more inland towards, like, Kent's Cavern and, like, live there, and maybe already wearing that necklace with the seal pendant, and then one day it just dropped. It's very possible. So, yeah. And, yeah, I also believe that the Neanderthals were assimilated into us Homo sapiens, because we still carry their DNA in, like, up to 4%. That's quite a bit. So, thank you so much for the super chat. That's so kind of you. Oh my god. Let me just, can I give that a heart or whatever? Like, yes! I gave that a heart. I tried to give it a like, but it's not letting me. Why is it not letting me? Nope, it's not letting me give a like. Ah, well. At least I gave a heart. Yay. Alright. Next up. This is an ostrich. I think most of you know what an ostrich is. This particular ostrich is not the subject of this discovery, but, like, close enough. Ostrich bones at Moroccan cave point to prehistoric butchery. So archaeologists working at Ifri Namar in northeastern Morocco have identified rare ostrich bones that suggest that humans processed the large bird during the late Stone Age. The material comes from layers linked to the Ibero-Maurusian culture dating to roughly 15,000 years ago. The team recovered several phalanges, toe bones, from an ostrich, and one of these shows a linear mark consistent with cutting by a stone tool. Exactly, they had butcher shops? Oh my god. Massive ostrich drumsticks. Oh hell yeah. Chicken wings, ostrich wings. Gimme. I kind of bet that it probably is delicious though. Like an ostrich chicken wing. Chicken wing. Okay, so the location and form of the mark indicate intentional action rather than natural damage. Researchers say it likely relates to removing skin or tendons, and there is no clear sign that the bone was broken for marrow, pointing to more targeted use of the animal. Finds of ostrich bones in North Africa are uncommon. Eggshell fragments appear more frequently at prehistoric sites, but skeletal remains are rarely preserved. This makes the Ifri Namar material notable, as it provides direct evidence of human interaction with species. The bones were found within the couche rouge layer. The bones were found in the couche rouge layer, which formed as the climate shifted at the end of the last ice age, bringing a move from cooler, drier conditions to a warmer and more humid environment. Other animal remains from the same site show a wide range of species, including small mammals, reptiles, and birds. And this diversity supports the idea that local populations used multiple resources rather than relying on a single food source. Comparisons with sites in Algeria and elsewhere in the Maghreb shows similar, though limited, evidence of ostrich use. In one case, a rib bone with cut marks suggests that the bird was butchered and eaten. The new material from Ifri Namar adds to this small body of data. Let me just breathe. Oh yeah, ostrich eggs. I heard that they were delicious. Never tried them. Maybe one day. The Ibero-Maurusian the Ibero-Maurusian is marked by small stone implements and shifts in how food was obtained. The evidence from this cave aligns with a move towards a wider range of resources as conditions changed. Nothing here suggests regular pursuit of ostriches. The remains instead point to occasional capture and handling. Dealing with such a large, fast bird would have required coordination. Together, these traces add detail to the record of human activity in North Africa during the closing stages of the Pleistocene. Very nice. Very, very nice. So, yeah. Pocket polo shirts. Okay, so I see someone asking me for pocket polo shirts for merch. I can look at fix one or two designs on a pocket polo shirt. A pocketed polo shirt. Okay. I'll see if I can fix that. I cannot make any promises, but I'll look into it. All right, next up. Oh, we're going well. I feel like we're going well. We still have way too much to go, but that's fine. Prehistoric farmers fertilized soil and grew millet. All right. So, a new archaeological study has revealed that prehistoric communities in Kujawi, north-central Poland, were far more advanced in their farming practices than previously understood, actively fertilizing their fields and later adopting millet as a key food source. The study, led by Lukas Pospišný from the University of Gdansk, traces daily life in the region from about 4100 to 1200 BCE. Results appeared in Royal Society Open Science. Ooh, I need to breathe. Oh, no, it's not coming. Researchers focused on physical remains rather than artifacts alone. They examined bones from 84 individuals, along with animal remains and plant material collected from more than 30 sites. Chemical signals preserved in bone collagen, specifically carbon and nitrogen isotopes, helped identify what people regularly ate. The earliest groups relied on mixed farmings. They grew cereals such as wheat and barley, and kept animals for food. Grain samples showed elevated nitrogen levels, a pattern linked to fertilized soil, and this points to deliberate efforts to maintain crop yields, likely using manure. Diet across the region leaned heavily on land resources. Fish and freshwater species show up only rarely in the data. A shift appears with the spread of communities associated with the corded ware culture, dated to roughly 2800 to 2200 BCE, and these groups are tied to higher consumption of animal products, including meat and dairy. Evidence suggests that they settled in new locations rather than reusing farmland established by earlier inhabitants. For many centuries, food habits changed little. Cereals and animal products remained central. That pattern broke in the Bronze Age when millet began to appear more often in the record. The crop grows quickly and tolerates heat and dry conditions, making it a practical addition. The timing stands out. Millet shows up suddenly rather than gradually, which researchers interpret as the result of new groups bringing it to the region. Other contrasts between communities also emerge. Burial customs differed, with some groups using shared graves over generations, while others practiced distinct forms, including paired burials. Differences in tools and bronze items appear alongside these patterns. There are also signs of uneven access to food. Some individuals consumed more meat than others, a detail that may reflect early social differences within Bronze Age communities in Kujawi. Really cool. I didn't say anything about hopping and jumping. No, no. I don't see anything about hops, so probably no beer. Very sad for them. But oh well. Archaeologists excavate a Maya ball court near Puxila. So yeah. Work to protect an early Maya ball court has been completed in Yucatan after its discovery during construction linked to the Maya train freight project. Like I said, the Maya train. I'm not a fan. I am not a fan of the Maya train project. The structure lies near Puxila in the municipality of Uman within the state of Yucatan. It was identified in 2024 during survey work ahead of building a cargo transfer terminal. Archaeologists from the National Institute of Anthropology and History, the INAH, later confirmed that the remains were at risk with signs of stone removal and damage to the internal structure. Yeah. So to prevent further loss, a consolidation program was carried out between October and December of 2025. The work focused on stabilizing the court's foundations and preserving what survives of its layout. Construction plans for the surrounding development were adjusted in coordination with the Ministry of National Defense to avoid damaging the protected area. And I feel like definitely this has to do with their new female president, because when the Maya train rail project was first announced and like building of it started, they had a male president that honestly, in my personal opinion, didn't give a shit about any of the historical ruins and history that was going to be lost. And now we have this female president, and she's like, no, let's just make changes. Like, let's preserve this. And I really like the fact that she does. But we apparently also have a female Secretary of Culture in Mexico now. Her name is Claudia Curiel de Icaza. And she said that the aim was to ensure that important archaeological remains are preserved and remain accessible for study and for local communities. So again, applause for that. Really happy to see that. Much respect to them, because they did not, they had no control over the Maya train project being approved and building started. But at least they're now trying to preserve as much history as they can and have it remain accessible for study and for the local communities to use. So on site, teams began by clearing vegetation that had taken hold across the structure. Roots and debris were removed to expose the original surfaces. Measurements were then checked and corrected, and unstable material within the walls was taken out. The remaining foundations were reinforced to improve stability and retain the form recorded during excavation. And here you can see them hard at work. It's probably hot as fuck down there, but yeah, I mean, it is Mexico. So the ball court dates to between 800 and 3000 BCE. Sorry, between 800 and 300 BCE, placing it in the middle pre-classic period. I can't speak, people. What did you do with me? Like, I can't speak. It's fine. Examples from this era are uncommon in northwestern Yucatan, particularly those that have been fully excavated, which makes the site significant despite its condition. Thank you so much, Texas Traveler, for the super sticker. Thank you. The layout is straightforward. 2 parallel platforms run along a north-south axis. So, I mean, that's probably what you see here. And each about 15.5 meters long and just under 5 meters wide, standing at around less than a meter high. And at the southern end, an extended platform marks what is understood to be the end zone. The playing area sits between the platforms and measures roughly 15.5 meters by 4.5 meters. So this is going to be the end zone. Yeah. Much of the structure has deteriorated, as you can imagine, and it's been there for a while, a couple thousand years. Archaeologists did not find clear traces of a sloping bench, a feature often associated with Maya ball courts. Its absence makes it difficult to reconstruct how the court functioned in detail. At other sites, similar courts include sloping stone benches, suggesting a consistent way of playing. Here, the differences may point to variation in use or to an earlier stage in the development of the game. Later sites, such as Okintok and Koba, dating to the early classic period, show more developed features, including the sloped elements not seen at Chican Panadero. This contrast helps place the structure within a longer sequence of architectural change. The excavation has also provided material for ongoing study into how ball games were organized in early Maya communities. While the court itself is the main feature, its setting and construction add to the limited evidence available for this period in the region. Local residents have taken part in the work at the cargo terminal site, assisting with the broader salvage effort. Areas around the court have also been replanted with native species in coordination with environmental groups. Although much remains under study, the site has already added to understanding of early Maya construction and activity in this part of Yucatan. The preserved remains offer a record of a structure type that is rarely documented at this stage in Maya history. So that was nice. I like a good Maya discovery. Nice. Oh, I need to pee soon. Gosh damn. Alright, next article. Neolithic tombs reveal kinship across generations. Stone tombs built by early farming groups in northern Scotland were used to bury closely related individuals, with new evidence pointing to family ties passed down through the male line. Alright. Thank you for the super sticker, Alexander Tran. Really kind of you. It's been 2 super stickers in less than 5 minutes? Oh, hell yeah. The research was led by Vicky Cummings, working with Chris Fowler. The team examined human remains from chamber tombs in Caithness and the Orkney Islands, dating to roughly 3800 to 3200 BCE. Built from large stone slabs and reused across generations, these tombs often hold the remains of many individuals. Until now, it has been difficult to determine whether they were related, as the bones are often fragmentary and intermixed. Researchers addressed by analyzing ancient DNA. The results show a clear pattern. Many of the men buried in the same tombs or in nearby ones were closely related through their fathers, and this repeated across several sites. Did we just find the origins of patriarchy? You guys. I think we just found the origins of patriarchy. But yeah. I don't like that. No, not one bit. Nope. But okay. The findings indicate that burial was not random. Oh, thank you so much, John Davis, for the super chat. Oh my god, you guys. Let me just... Can I at least the John one I can give a heart, and the rest I cannot, because those are super stickers, and you can't leave a heart at a super sticker. Ugh, stupid YouTube. But okay. My apologies. We will continue. So, the findings indicate that burial was not random. Specific tombs were used by related groups over generations. Male ancestry appears to have played a central role in deciding who was placed where. Because we know, there was only one thing back in ancient times that you could prove was your parent, or who was your child, and that is the mother giving birth. Because, you know, the child actually came out of the mother. That was witnessed by everyone. Anyone could have been the father. Anyone. But you at least knew, this is my mom. I came from her hoo-ha. Makes it quite easy, But, so usually lineages were traced through the maternal line. And here we have it, male ancestry appears to have played a central role in deciding who was placed where. So suddenly there's this focus on male ancestry. So that's why I'm joking. Like, is this the birth of patriarchy? Like, is this where we all went wrong? Because we did. We really went wrong. I mean, we messed up big time. But okay. The positioning of the tombs adds to this picture. Burial sites were often grouped together, and neighboring tombs sometimes held individuals who were also related. Over time, this created clusters tied to family lines. I came from Hoo-Ha, Kaylee, 2026 CE. Hell yeah. Look at me. Such a good streamer. I just say the most stupid things. But okay, it's fine. There were also links beyond single locations. In one case, individuals buried in Orkney shared ancestry with people from mainland Scotland, suggesting movement between regions. Even so, the continued use of particular tombs points to stable family connections. At least they didn't go no contact. So those parents at least did a good thing, I think. I can only assume, but like, otherwise you would have gone no contact, and you wouldn't see stable family connections later on. Local differences existed. Some tombs appear to have been used by small groups, while others show slightly different burial arrangements. Still, the overall pattern, placing related individuals together, remains consistent. These burial sites likely served more than one purpose. Alongside the practical act of interment, they marked relationships in a visible way. Stone structures that remained in place for generations would have made those connections part of the landscape. The emphasis on male lineage appears across both Caithness and Orkney, suggesting a shared approach rather than an isolated custom. By combining genetic analysis with archaeological data, researchers were able to identify relationships that are not visible from the remains alone. The results offer a clearer view of how early farming communities in northern Scotland organized themselves and maintained ties across generations. Okay. My scientific terms are things like thingamajig, and that is for the Karahantep statue, like the big one. Okay, so so this is your one warning. This is a thingamajig. That is my scientific term. This is a thingamajig. And a woman has a hoo-ha. Okay? I think we can all agree. Like here, in Turkey, they all hold their thingamajiggies. They very much enjoy holding their thingamajigs. I didn't carve those statues. Like, someone carved it. And I don't want to say dongs, because apparently YouTube doesn't like it when I say dongs too many times. Because I made a whole video called The Dong of Humanity. Look at this. This is so sad, guys. Guys. Since the dawn of humanity, and it's demonetized. And it's completely now, it's almost hidden on the channel. And it got more than 500,000 views. And it actually was going viral the day that, like, it was going viral for like 2 whole days. And then YouTube suddenly decided this is not advertiser friendly after like 2.5 years of that video being up, and demonetized it, and then almost completely restricted it worldwide. So yeah, that was not fun. And like, I had good ads on that video, like ads for drinking and gambling, and they pay really well. Full on demonetized. I'm not making a cent from it. But they still show ads. So like, yeah, YouTube is at least still making bank, although the video completely died after they messed that up. So yay, thank you YouTube for like ruining my video that was doing so well. That's the first video you ever saw of me. Awesome. Cool. I called myself the Dong Lady in that. Well, at least it's something to be proud of, right? All right, so ancient dead with gold tongues discovered in Minya in Egypt. And we have found this more often in like ancient Egypt. So a Roman era cemetery has been uncovered in Minya in Egypt, bringing renewed focus to the ancient sites of Albahansa and its burial traditions. The excavation was led by researchers from the University of Barcelona together with the Institute of the Ancient East under the direction of Dr. Maite Mascort and Dr. Esther Ponce Milado. The team identified several burials, including mummies placed in wooden coffins, some of which were wrapped in patterned textiles. Several artifacts were recovered from the site. Among them were small tongues made of gold and one of brass, positioned inside the mouths of the dead. Archaeologists link these items to beliefs about communication after death. Other finds include decorated wrappings and coffin remains. Really nice. So yeah. Sherif Fatih, Egypt's Minister of Tourism and Antiquities, said that the discovery adds to recent work in Minya, a region known for its rich archaeological record. He pointed to the area's long history and the range of cultures that passed through it. Hisham El-Leiti of the Supreme Council of Antiquities said that the cemetery provides evidence of burial customs in Albahansa, known in antiquity as Oxyrhynchus, during the Greek and Roman periods. One burial contained a papyrus with lines from the Iliad by Homer. The passage refers to the catalogue of ships describing forces involved with the Trojan War. Work near the site known as the Golden Cemetery, number 67, first recorded in 2024, uncovered a limestone structure with 3 chambers. In one chamber, a large jar held cremated remains of an adult along with infant bones and the head of a bird wrapped in cloth. Another chamber contained remains of 2 individuals and animal bones. Archaeologists also recovered small terracotta and bronze figures. Some represent Harpocrates, while another resembles Cupid, indicating overlapping religious traditions. Part of the cemetery shows signs of earlier disturbance, likely from looting. Even so, the site continues to provide material for study. Hassan Amer of Cairo University said that the presence of gold and copper tongs, alongside the mummies, supports written accounts of burial customs in the period and offers direct physical evidence of those practices. Do I go live every Thursday? Yes, every Thursday I go live and I start at 8 p.m. Amsterdam time, which translates to, I think, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the US. But yeah, I do this every single Thursday. And unless I'm like sick, and then I try to do it as fast as possible. So I think I've live streamed one Friday, and I only had to skip one live stream when I was in Peru. So yeah, in general, every Thursday. I think we're about halfway or over halfway with the tabs. So, we're doing good. We are doing good, people. So, we have an ancient village that was destroyed by a natural disaster that was discovered in Biel. All right, so let's get into it. Construction crews in Biel, Germany, set out expecting nothing more than concrete footings and routine groundwork. Instead, several meters beneath the surface, they uncovered the faint outline of a long-vanished lakeside village. I like that. I like a lakeside village because I like a lakeside view. I know, call me crazy, but like, who doesn't like a lakeside view? People, come on. Come on. The site, buried near what is now the campus of the Bern University of Applied Sciences, had been sealed in damp, oxygen-poor soils by piece. Workers removed layers of earth until rows of wooden posts appeared, still fixed in their original positions. More than 1,300 of these posts marked where houses once stood. That's really cool. Around them lay hundreds of additional timbers, fragments of structures that had long since collapsed, and the conditions underground had done the archaeologists a very rare favor. Instead of scattered traces, they found a layout that could still be read. Tree ring analysis made it possible to pin down dates with unusual precision. The wood showed that construction began around 3842 BCE and activity continued for only a few years. By 3838 BCE, the site had already reached the end of its short life. Few prehistoric settlements can be tied to such a very tight time frame. Really, that's tight, because that's only 6 years. Sorry, I lied. That's only 4.5 years. Like, wait, what? The arrangement of the houses shows how the village took shape. At first, a single line of buildings stood along the shore. Over time, new houses appeared on either side, forming a broader cluster. At some point, the residents added wooden barriers facing the lake. These may have served as protection against waves, though they did not hold for long. So here you can see some digging works. That's at Barron University, and like this is what they think it kind of maybe sort of looked like. No idea what that reconstruction was, but that's fine. The final chapter came suddenly. Evidence in the ground points to a violent storm, likely driven by strong westerly winds. I mean, I live in the Netherlands. On the west coast, I know. Western winds that are strong, they are not to be messed with, because they will destroy anything that they can. Yeah. Not fun. The force of water and wind pushed against the settlement with enough strength to shift or tear out structural posts. Some buildings were left leaning or broken apart, and the pattern of damage suggests a single event rather than slow decline. People did not leave straight away. Signs of repair work showed that they tried to recover. Posts were reset and parts of the village were rebuilt, but still the effort did not last. Within a short time, the site was abandoned. So yeah, that's not fun. Objects found during the dig add detail to that brief occupation. Pottery fragments, stone tools, and implements made from bone and antler point to daily routines. The materials came mostly from nearby sources, yet certain styles and items hint at contact with distant regions. Links can be traced towards central Switzerland, the Rhone Valley, southern France, and even areas farther west. Remains of plants and animals provide clues about food. The villagers appeared to have farmed, gathered, and made use of the lake and surrounding land. Their habits match what is known from other lakeside communities of the same period in the Three Lakes region. Sites like this form part of a wider archaeological picture. Across the Alpine region, similar settlements have been identified and preserved. Many belong to the UNESCO World Heritage Site, prehistoric pile dwellings around the Alps, recognized for what they reveal about early farming societies. What makes the Beale site stand out is not its size, but its clarity. The village existed for only a few years, yet its story can be followed from construction to destruction without major gaps. A small community built homes by the water, expanded them, faced a sudden disaster, and tried briefly to rebuild. And then they left, and the lakeshore changed again. I like this. Yeah. Really nice. Okay, next. This is Georgia, the country, by the way. So for the people in the US that see Georgia and they were like, oh yeah, Georgia, lost civilization in Georgia in the US. No, sorry. It's not the state of Georgia. It's the European country of Georgia. Georgië in the Dutch language. But yeah. So, archaeologists reveal a lost civilization in the Georgia Highlands. Archaeologists working in southern Georgia are uncovering new evidence that challenges long-held assumptions about life in the region's highlands. Fieldwork on the Yavakketi Plateau has revealed a dense network of settlements, fortifications, and burial sites pointing to a forgotten civilization that sustained human activity over thousands of years. The research forms part of the Samtske Javaketi project, a Georgian-Italian collaboration underway since 2017. Results published by Cambridge University Press record. Results published by the Cambridge University Press record more than 168 archaeological sites dating from the early Bronze Age through to the medieval era. That's really nice. Earlier work in the Javaketi Islands was limited in scope. Recent surveys draw on satellite imagery, GPS mapping, and ground recording to track how sites are distributed across the plateau. Fortified locations, domestic areas, and necropolises appear in clusters often positioned on elevated ground. Large stone structures built from unworked blocks, described as cyclopean, are common. Some of these sites were likely used on a temporary basis, possibly linked to seasonal pastoral activity. Evidence from several locations point to repeated occupation rather than permanent settlement. Apologies for that. Like my throat is getting a little bit dry and sore. I mean, you try talking continuously for like more than 2 hours already. Ooh. So, evidence from several locations point to repeated occupation rather than permanent settlement. Excavation at Baraleti Natsargora, a mound in the Central Plateau, has provided a clearer sequence. Archaeologists have identified multiple layers of occupation, along with traces of burning, defensive walls, and domestic remains. The name of the site often translates to Hill of Ashes, reflects these burn layers. Material recovered so far dates from around 3500 to 500 BCE. Now, it's not going well. Yeah. I mean, I would like a sour beverage, but I only have my cola here. And otherwise I have to ask Kevin, and I don't always want to like bother him asking to get me drinks. So yeah. It's fine. So a bronze solar disk recovered in the area carries concentric decoration and perforations. Similar objects from southern Georgia are usually linked to burial contexts, often associated with female graves. The Baraleti example is thought to have originated from a nearby funerary setting. At Megreki Fortress, further east, excavation has revealed a long sequence of occupation extending from the early Bronze Age through the Iron Age and into the medieval period. Structural remains include perimeter walls, storage areas, and domestic buildings, showing repeated phases of construction and reuse. That's really cool. 2 domestic structures at the site contained clay installations, likely ovens or raised platforms, alongside decorated plaques. These plaques carry incised geometric designs with traces of red, white, and dark blue pigment. Best colors of a flag. Red, white, and blue. And I'm not talking about the American flag, but of course I am talking the Nederlandse vlag, which is red, white, and a blue. Is the prettiest flag in the world, in my personal opinion. Like, I'm sorry, had to like throw that out. I am super fucking proud of our flag. It is one of the oldest flags. I know that the Danish flag is older and continuously in use. Our flag used to be a light color on the bottom, but now Luxembourg has the light color, and we have just the normal red, white, and blue. But this is the best flag. Horizontal, red, white, and blue. I have my opinion on the French flag. It's fine. It's fine. But these plaques carry incised geometric designs with traces of red, white, and dark blue pigment, and such decoration is uncommon in the region, though comparable finds elsewhere suggest links to spaces with particular status or function. Taken together, the survey and excavation results point to a landscape shaped by movement, reuse, and adaptation. Fortified sites appear to have served more than a single purpose, while material evidence indicates connections between uplands and lowland communities. Work on the project continues. Further excavation, radiocarbon dating, and environmental analysis are planned, alongside more detailed study of ceramics and symbolic artifacts. The evidence now emerging places the Yavakheti Highlands within the wider pattern of interaction across the South Caucasus rather than on its margins. Really cool. Yeah, let me just see and ask Kevin if he wants to bring me a drinky drink. We can at least, we can ask. We can say, hey, moppie. That's how you say, hey, babe, in Dutch. Hey, moppie. Okay. No idea if he's going to read this, because he's doing his own thing. But at least I asked, and we shall see. But yet again, another discovery done. Ta-da-da-da-da-da. Okay. A cache of Neolithic rock crystals discovered in northern England. And here you have the crystals. Really cool. That's a good question. Did the French copy the Dutch flag? Yes. Ha! Yes, so partially inspired by the Dutch flag. So at least inspired, partially. Because yes, the French flag was partially inspired by the Dutch flag, which is considered the oldest tricolor in the world and influenced many red, white, blue designs. Ha! Ha! So yeah. They even retained the same colors as the flag of the Netherlands, merely flipping the design on its side. So yeah. Yeah, the Dutch flag is the best. At least we can all agree on that. Okay. I don't think he's gonna read that. He's busy. It's fine. A large cache of Neolithic rock crystal has been uncovered during work on the A66 Northern Transpennine project in northern England, providing archaeologists with new material to examine how early communities in Britain sourced, used, and exchanged rare minerals. Really cool. Quartz is widespread across the UK, but rock crystal is a distinct form. It develops as clear prism-like crystals in geological fissures under specific conditions, and such formations are uncommon, with known British sources limited to areas including Cornwall and parts of Wales and Scotland. Even so, rock crystal appears at a small number of prehistoric sites. Around 40 have been identified across Britain and Ireland, most dating to the Neolithic period. Archaeologist Nick Overton notes that many of these sites lie along the Irish Sea or are connected to it by river systems, a distribution that points to movement of materials between communities. All right. Finds from inland locations underlined that point. At Dorstone Hill in Herefordshire, archaeologists recovered a large quantity of rock crystal despite the absence of nearby natural sources. The material must have traveled considerable distances before deposition. Its role does not appear to have been purely practical. In a period without glass, transparent crystal would have been unusual. Several sites where it has been recovered are linked to burial activity or early communal structures, suggesting it may have carried symbolic weight. The A66 excavations stand out because of the volume and variety of material recovered. The assemblage includes both clear, well-formed crystals and more opaque, fractured examples. This range may indicate multiple sources. Higher quality pieces could have been brought in from further afield, while others resemble crystals known from Cumbria. Some of the smaller crystals show signs of deliberate modification and their tips have been struck off, which may represent a way of testing internal quality before further working. Many of these pieces were not shaped beyond that stage, likely due to, flaws. Despite this, they were obtained and placed in pits rather than discarded. Their deposition suggests that even lower quality examples were considered worth keeping. The reasons for this remain under study, but visual or symbolic qualities may have been a factor. Rock crystal has been recovered from several pits and post holes along the route at other Neolithic sites. Similar finds are sometimes associated with timber structures linked to early farming communities. No clear evidence for such buildings has yet been identified in this part of northwest England. Comparable results have been reported from excavations at Windy Harbour in Lancashire, where early Neolithic rock crystal was found without accompanying structural remains. This may point to regional differences in how communities organized activity or marked significant locations. The A66 corridor runs through the Eden Valley, a natural route that would have allowed movement across the landscape. The distribution of finds along it supports the idea that it functioned as part of a broader network linking communities. Further analysis of the material is ongoing, and the assemblage offers an opportunity to examine sourcing, handling, and deposition practices in more detail, and to place the A66 finds within the wider pattern of Neolithic activity across Britain and Ireland. Very nice. Okay. Well, another one. Done. Oh. One day I will be done with this. One day. Mm-hmm. All right. Next up, we have a thing here. You see this? You see this? Okay, what is it? Ancient corral structure linked to astronomical observation discovered at Aspero. Could be part of an astronomical observation. And that is pretty dang cool. All right. So, archaeologists in Peru have uncovered a structure at Aspero that appears to have been used to observe the sky, adding detail to what is known about early scientific practices in the Corral civilization. The find was announced by the Corral Archaeological Zone with fieldwork led by Ruth Shadi Solis, and the team has been investigating the coastal settlement for more than 2 decades. Aspero lies near the Pacific coast in Supe-Puerto and dates to between 3000 and 1800 BCE. It is considered one of the main coastal centers linked to Corral, a society often described as one of the earliest in the Americas. The newly recorded structure sits in Sector J1, close to larger pyramidal buildings. From this point, there are clear views of the shoreline and the lower Supe Valley. Researchers think that position mattered. It would have allowed regular observation of the horizon, the movement of the sun and the moon, and changes affecting the sea. So here you can see that. No idea what it is, but it's probably an observation structure. Astronomical observation. Excavations show that the structure went through several stages. In its earliest phase, it appears to have been a public or ceremonial space. Later, a circular platform was added, just over 3 meters across, with a standing stone set at its center. Okay, so that's what we're looking at here. Okay. Stones of this kind, known as huancas, are often linked to ritual use in the Andes. I need to remember in like Spanish or Peruvian that H is a W sound when pronouncing. Pronunciations are hard, people. Like seriously, it's hard. Further modifications followed, including the construction of a double-stepped platform with a broader lower tier and a smaller upper level. Wow, I can speak. Okay. Come on, people. We're close to like the end. of the stream. Like, come on. Further modifications followed, including the construction of a double-stepped platform with a broader lower tier and a smaller upper level. At its center was a rectangular stone with an adjacent enclosed area containing a hearth. Together, these features indicate continued use of the space, likely linked to repeated gatherings or formalized activity. Researchers suggest that the layout may have been used to track cycles in the sky. Watching the sun, moon, and stars would have helped people judge seasonal change. For a settlement dependent on fishing and shellfish, timing mattered. Tides, weather, and marine life do not stay constant, and small shifts could affect your food supply. At some point, the structure was covered and reused for domestic purposes, and that change suggests its earlier role had come to an end. Okay. Aspero itself covers nearly 19 hectares and includes more than 20 architectural complexes. Its position near the sea made it well placed for fishing, but it was also part of a wider network. Goods moved between the coast and inland areas, linking communities with different resources. Previous finds at the site include high-status burials, among them the so-called Lady of the Four Tupus. Such discoveries point to a society with clear social ranking and organized activity. The latest work adds another element. It suggests that observing the sky was not separate from daily life. Instead, it formed part of how people organized work and responded to their surroundings. Researchers are examining the structure's alignment, layers of construction, and associated materials, and these will be compared with dating evidence to clarify when each phase was in use. Woo! Really nice. What is a tupu? We can Google that. What is a tupu? A tupu is a traditional, often large metal pin used by Andean women in South America to fasten garments like the aksu, a shawl, or the anako, a dress. Okay, so it's a pin. A tupu is a pin. So the Lady of the Four Tupus was the Lady of the Four Pins. So, Lady of the Four Tupus. Yeah, 4 bone brooches. Oh, yeah. Here you can see. Oh, wait. This is a little bit too skeleton-y. This one is just nightmare fuel. But it's fine. It's fine. Like, the skull I can handle. But the skull with eyes? Why? Why would you do this to us? But okay, so here we have those bone brooches. And she had 2 necklaces, I read just now. She uses a beauty filter? Like, what? Whoa. Yeah, I don't. This is just my face. It's fine. All right, next one. Archaeologists excavate temple complex in Egypt's Fayum region. Work to stabilize and preserve the temple complex at Soknopayu Nesos. Okay, we're gonna do this again. Soknopayu Nesos. Okay, what a name. Work to stabilize and preserve the temple complex at Soknopayu Nesos in Egypt's Fayum region has entered a decisive phase, with archaeologists reporting both structural gains and fresh insights into the site's long history. The project, directed by Paola Davoli of the University of Salento, has been underway since 2021 with the support of the Antiquities Endowment Fund. The settlement itself spread across a broad strip of desert and was at its busiest from the 4th century BCE to about the middle of the 3rd century CE. The temple enclosure still dominates the site. Built of mud brick in the early Roman period, its walls rise high above the surrounding ground. Within them are shrines, storage rooms, living quarters, and halls used for gatherings. The complex was devoted to Soknopaios, a local form of Sobek, alongside Isis Neferses. Earlier finds, papyri and fragments of sculpture, have already pointed to a community centered on priestly life. A straight paved A straight paved route cuts through the settlement. This processional way once linked the temple to burial grounds beyond and was used during festivals that filled much of the calendar. It also acted as a meeting point where people gathered during public rites. And this is where you can see that straight paved road that they built back in ancient times. So yeah. Excavation inside the enclosure has identified three main structures. To the south stands a Ptolemaic sanctuary, still over 10 meters high. North of it are the remains of a Roman period temple, later dismantled for building stone, and a further structure often linked with the worship of Isis. Around them sit mud brick buildings that have been worn down over time by wind and shifting sands. So here you can see a little bit more of an overview of that temple area. Really cool, really, really cool. So yeah. Do we have anything in the chat? No, it's fine. Yeah, that was a really creepy, weird skull. It really wasn't necessary. Was there an... Oh, it felt like a mosquito landed on me. Ugh. Let's not do that. Ooh, I hate mosquitoes. Recent restoration work has first focused on the enclosure walls. In places they reach around 15 meters, but erosion has hollowed out sections, especially at the corners. When repairs began, differences in brick size, clay mix, and foundation depth became clear. These variations suggest that parts of the wall were built at different times and that older material was reused. The southeast... Oh, I see a notification. This is... Ooh. Ooh, nice. Okay, so I'm getting a drinky drink. Hearts. Thank you. Oh, apparently we also have a 4-year friendship anniversary on Discord, my boyfriend and I. Nice. Very nice. Okay, so the southeast corner proved especially fragile. Its outer face had thinned and parts were close to collapse. By copying the original pattern, courses of bricks set at an angle, the team rebuilt the section so that it follows the earlier design rather than replacing it with a modern solution. This might be that southeast corner, because none of the other corners seem to be in focus on this picture, and they definitely do not seem reconstructed, while this corner does seem reconstructed. So, attention then shifted to the Ptolemaic temple. Stone blocks had slipped and sand driven by wind had filled the interior spaces. Clearing this material exposed stairways leading upward, hinting at additional stories, while the lowest level remained buried. Signs of later alteration were also found. A central chamber appears to have been reshaped into a passage aligned with the main route through the site. Materials for the work have been kept local. Clay for new bricks was taken from nearby sources and matched in color and size to what was already there. Fallen stone has been put back into use where it could be safely reset. At the edge of the site, a small area has been set aside for visitors with a shelter and information panels in several languages. Digital guides can be accessed on site, offering plans and images to help make sense of what remains. Much of Suknopayu Nessos still lies under sand or in a fragile state. The work so far has reduced the risk of further loss and made key areas easier to follow, but more sections will need the same careful treatment before excavation can move ahead in full. So this has to be that reconstructed corner. All right, next up, we have a golden man burial that was unearthed in western Kazakhstan. And here you can see part of that gold, I think. I'm just assuming. I'm just going to assume that this is going to be part of that gold. Might be his hand or like part of an arm. I don't think a leg. Leg would be bigger, but yeah, no. So, archaeologists in western Kazakhstan have uncovered a richly furnished burial that is drawing wide attention. The find, already being called another golden man, was made in the Aktobe region, about 300 kilometers from Aktobe. The site lies near the village of Taskopa in the Tamir district. A team from the A. Margulan Institute of Archaeology has been working there since early August, investigating a cluster of burial mounds. Around 15 sites were identified, with 4 examined so far. In one mound, nearly 6 meters below the surface, the team found the remains of a man dating to the 5th century BCE, and what stood out immediately was his clothing. It was covered with gold elements, a feature usually associated with status and rank among early nomadic groups of the steppe. The burial included a horse placed alongside the man. Parts of its harness were decorated with precious metal, reinforcing the idea that the individual held a prominent position. In steppe traditions, horses in graves often tied to warriors or leaders. The discovery has been compared with the well-known Golden Man from Issyk Kurgan, found in the 20th century. That earlier burial became a symbol of the country's ancient past, and the newly uncovered grave appears to belong to the same broad period. Arman Bizembayev, who leads the excavations, said that the work is part of a wider study of elite burials from early nomadic cultures in the region. The artifacts from the grave will now be examined by specialists, which may help clarify some details about the individual and the society he belonged to. The dig is still ongoing, and only a small number of the suspected mounds have been opened, and the team expects further finds. The area has not been fully explored, leaving room for more discoveries. Regional officials have also commented on the finds. October Governor Ondasin Urazalin said discoveries like this help show the level of development reached by ancient communities that lived in what is now Kazakhstan. Objects such as these offer direct evidence of craftsmanship, trade, and social hierarchy. For archaeologists, the importance of the burial lies not just in the gold. It adds to a growing body of evidence about how early nomadic societies organized themselves, how they buried their dead, and how they displayed status. Each new site helps fill in part of that picture. The Taskopa burial is likely to remain a focus of research for some time, and as work continues and the artifacts are studied, more details are expected to emerge about the man, his role, and the world he lived in over 2,000 years ago. Really like this one. That's a good discovery. Hey, Mr. Mike, thank you so much for the super chat. I will quickly give you a heart there. Thank you, thank you. Lost Maya site discovered in forests of the Quintana Roo. A substantial Maya site concealed within the forests of southern Quintana Roo has recently come to light after local residents alerted the National Institute of Anthropology and History, the INAH. Now named El Jefecino, the site is notable not only for its scale, but for the archaeological insights already emerging from its remains. Multiple construction phases that reveal centuries of adaptation, expansion, and reuse. Spread over about 100 hectares, the site includes around 80 structures. Many follow the pendant style linked to the classic Maya period from 250 to 900 CE. These buildings show familiar traits: vaulted rooms, softened corners, and apron moldings. Even without excavations, the layout suggests a planned settlement rather than scattered dwellings. What makes El Jefecino especially valuable is the visible sequence of construction. At least three phases can be distinguished on the surface. The lowest level, about 8 meters down, contains early apron moldings. Above that sits a layer with traces of painted stucco, white, orange, and red pigments still clinging to parts of the wall. And the uppermost face shows collapse, where fallen stone exposes stair bases and earlier structural elements. Given the size of the buildings, archaeologists suspect that there are more phases below that have yet to be seen. At the center of the site lies a group of 5 large buildings arranged around in a C-shaped plaza. These structures reach between 11 and 14 meters in height and extend up to 14 meters in length. Their scale and placement point to a formal core, likely used for gatherings, administrations, or ritual events. Similar layouts appear in other Maya cities where plazas formed the heart of public life. Some of the most intriguing finds come from individual buildings. In one structure, labeled 53035, fragments of a human skeleton were found alongside decorated stucco. Because no excavation has been carried out, everything remains where it was discovered. Still, the association hints at a burial or ceremonial use. The painted surfaces appear ornamental rather than narrative in nature, though that may change with closer study. Elsewhere, 3 intact Maya vaults survive inside several buildings. Their condition offers a clear look at construction methods and durability. Another structure, known as Monument 53037, reveals a buried substructure with apron molding, again pointing to repeated rebuilding over time. Further work at El Jefecino will rely on non-invasive methods such as LiDAR scanning, to map what lies beneath the dense vegetation. This should help define the full size of the settlement and how its parts connect. As research continues, the site is likely to shed new light on how Maya communities in this region built, expanded, and adapted their cities over generation. That was really nice. That was a good one. So we only have 2 left because these were just Google things, Google searches. And this last one I wasn't even a fan of. I thought that was a bullshit article, but that's just my personal opinion. But at least we have a super, super cold drink, which is going to be very nice for me. Oh yeah, way better for my throat. Ancient beaver bone pit in Germany points to early fur use. And I really like this because A, them be my neighbors, the Germans. B, who doesn't like a good beaver? They build dams and shit. And C, who doesn't like a good fur? Like back in the day in ancient times, a good fur was really important to keep yourself warm. Or like have a nice pillow or bed or like bedspread or whatever, blanket, you name it. So yeah, really like this one. No, guys, it's a 0.0 alcohol. Like there's no alcohol in this. It's cider without alcohol. So honestly, it's just nice. I like the taste. I don't necessarily need alcohol. I just like taste. Exactly. Really, really important in the Ice Age to like cover yourself with a little bit of fur. We lost our furry, like, we don't have fur ourselves anymore. Like, we lost that. So, archaeologists in central Germany have uncovered a 7,000-year-old pit filled with beaver bones, shedding light on how early farming communities may have hunted animals for their fur. The discovery was made near Alsleben in Saxony-Anhalt during preparatory work for a major electricity transmission project. The excavation is part of investigations linked to the Swedostlink power line. Developed with the involvement of 50 Hz, the route passes through areas known for early settlement, prompting archaeological surveys before construction begins. Teams from the State Office for Heritage Management and Archaeology, Saxony-Anhalt, have identified remains from several periods, including the Neolithic, Bronze Age, and Iron Age. One small pit, however, has stood out. This has to be Mesolithic because it's older. At least it's probably Mesolithic. But oh well. About 80 centimeters wide, the pit contained a dense concentration of animal bones. The presence of beaver teeth, easily recognized by their orange-brown color, led to closer examination. All of the bones were found to belong to beavers. To preserve the find, the pit was removed in a single block and analyzed in a laboratory. Radiocarbon dating placed it between 4,935 and 4,787 BCE. This links it to the early Neolithic and the stroke-ornamented ware culture known for its decorated pottery. The remains represent at least 12 animals. The bones are well preserved and largely intact, allowing researchers to identify both young and older individuals. However, the skeletons are incomplete and not arranged in order, indicating that the animals were not buried whole. Researchers believe that the beavers were skinned and the bodies were left to decompose before the bones were collected and placed in the pit. The focus on a single species suggests deliberate activity rather than general waste disposal. Beavers would have been common along the nearby river Saale, making them accessible to hunters. Their fur, valued for its warmth and durability, would have been useful for clothing. The number of animals involved points to organized hunting rather than occasional capture. Material evidence for fur use rarely survives, making finds like this uncommon. The bones provide indirect evidence of how animal resources were used and managed. They also point to knowledge of local wildlife and the ability to plan and carry out such activities. According to experts, Alsleben find thus not only points to specialized hunting strategies in the early Neolithic period, but also allows us to draw conclusions about clothing at that time, which we can imagine to have been quite elaborate. Well, yeah, very nice, very nice. And then last and kinda least, because I put this one all the way to the back, even though it's dated to April 14th. And I always go like from the beginning of the month and I work my way to like the end of the month during these live streams. So this was in the middle of the month when this happened. And because I'm not a big fan of like any use of AI, I understand that it can be very helpful in scientific research and in the field of science and to like scour through stacks and stacks of data. It's way faster than us humans. I understand that it has some positive things that you can do with it. I'm just not a fan of AI. I think we're all becoming very lazy because of it. Even our scientists. Yes, it makes things easier, but then again, AI is not perfect and it still misses out on a fuck ton of stuff. But okay, AI tools speed up search for ancient desert structures in Arabia. A research team led by Amy Hatton has demonstrated that artificial intelligence can be used to identify large numbers of ancient stone structures in northern Saudi Arabia, focusing on the southern edge of the Nafut Desert. The study explores a more efficient approach to mapping sites that are thousands of years old. Across Arabia, people built many dry stone features during the Holocene period. These include burial cairns, enclosures, camps, and larger ritual structures. They are key to understanding how communities lived and moved through changing environments. Until now, archaeologists have mainly recorded them through field surveys or by manually tracing them on satellite images, both slow and labor-intensive approaches. The new research, published in the Journal of Archaeological Science, reports explorers whether I can't speak. One sec. Okay. Sometimes I just brain fart. The new research, published in the Journal of Archaeological Science, explores whether computer models can take on part of this work. The team trained 3 deep learning systems, MANet, SecFormer, and UNet, using satellite imagery from the region. Each model was tested on how well it could recognize and outline stone features. Results show clear differences between the systems. MANet produced the strongest overall scores, but SecFormer gave more consistent results across different structure types. The models performed better when they were fed higher resolution images, with accuracy improving by about 20%. Honestly, if I make my YouTube videos and I have one image available to use and it's like 360p, you bet your fucking ass I ain't using that. I am not going to use a super shitty pixelated bullshit picture usually provided with the publication that I'm talking about. I would rather show you my stupid mug of a face than show you a bullshit pixelated picture where you can't even freaking see what the fuck I'm talking about. Okay? Okay. Okay. So, are people judging me? Are people judging me? I have no idea. I'm not swigging beer. Yeah, no. First of all, I'm allergic to beer, so I can't chug beer anyway. And second of all, I sometimes drink a cider during the stream, and at max 2 ciders during the stream. And I don't even do that every time. And I also don't have a beauty filter on. It's just my face, and it's a little bit more, I don't know, what the fudge. It's whatever. The study covered around 2,500 square kilometers along the desert's edge. Today, the area is dry and dominated by sand dunes, but conditions were wetter in the past. This made it more suitable for settlement, which helps explain the high number of archaeological remains. Using automated detection could change how archaeologists approach large landscapes. Instead of mapping everything by hand, researchers can use AI to highlight likely features and then check them more closely. This saves time and allows work to be carried out over much larger areas. There are also practical benefits for heritage protection. Many of these sites lie in remote regions and are difficult to monitor. Faster mapping makes it easier to record what exists and tracks changes over time. This is important in places where development or natural erosion may threaten archaeological remains. The researchers make clear that this approach is not a substitute for field work. At least I'm happy with that. Two ciders is like, I don't want to drink much. Two ciders is not going to make me drunk or tipsy, by the way. Like last weekend, or like about a week and a half ago, I think I had like 12 on one night in like a couple hours. I was still doing pretty okay, and I wasn't even drunk, and I didn't have a hangover the next day. I'm not really a lightweight. I'm Dutch. Like, I'm used to drinking quite a bit. It's just that I don't want to drink too often, and when I drink, I don't usually want to drink too much. I'm a little, like, I'm chronically ill. Like, please keep that in mind when you watch me. Like, I am chronically ill, and I will be sick for the rest of my life. And my liver, it's already working hard with my disease and the medication I need for that, and the anti-inflammatory meds that I also sometimes need. So let's not completely ruin my liver before I reach even the age of 40. I never drank much, like, when it comes to that. So, yeah. Okay. So, not a lightweight, but I'm just very mindful of when I drink and how much I drink, and sometimes I make exceptions. So yeah, okay, exactly. Drunk stream, not an option. Yeah. All right. So the researchers make clear that this approach is not a substitute for fieldwork. On-the-ground survey and excavation remain necessary to verify results and collect detailed evidence. What the models offer is a way to narrow the search, pointing archaeologists toward areas most likely to contain structures and cutting down the time spent scanning imagery by hand. The work sits within a broader shift toward using machine learning in archaeology, although these techniques are already in use elsewhere. Their application in Arabia has been limited. The results here show that they can handle desert landscapes and large imagery datasets without major issues. As higher resolution satellite data becomes more widely available, the same approach could be extended across much larger areas. And this would make it easier to trace how people organized and used these landscapes and how those patterns shifted over long periods. So yeah, that was it. Those were the discoveries. April. All the archaeological discoveries having anything to do with either the Stone Age or early Bronze Age in the month of April. Like, aren't we all proud of me and all the work I've done today? Look, because I've been reading articles for 2 hours and 44 minutes. Again, you can join the Turkey Tour. I put the link somewhere in the chat and then completely forgot to pin it. So I will put the link in the TikTok chat, and I will put the link Turkey Tour in the YouTube chat. And in the YouTube chat, I can pin message. And also, if you are interested in buying yourself a little bit of merch, also in the TikTok chat, and this one I cannot pin in the YouTube chat. Actually, this is a shirt I just almost went with as a design because of, you know, the lion's design. I did not do any of the colors, but for the horse's design, I actually wanted colors. So I have it here in the merch store. I eventually went with this design for the horses. So this is the design that you get from my store, and this is not the design I went with. Okay? This one it's nice, but honestly, I prefer the one where you can actually see like the cave wall in the back of the horses. Like, I don't know, it makes it look so much better. But yeah, also Giddy Up Sparkle Farts has become one of the favorites of the shirts I sell. So yeah, this is something I share a lot on my threads. If you can't handle me saying the "see you next Tuesday" word, do not follow me on threads, because I'm a sarcastic woman there, and it's honestly not for everyone. So yeah. But this one I highly recommend getting the shirt, however, because honestly this is just one of my favorite shirts at this point. I made the meme myself. I used to like make an older version, or like I used to use an older version that I came across a long time ago of like a kitty with like sunglasses and a crown sitting on top of a unicorn who said, "Giddy up, sparkle farts, we got fuckery to spread." And I eventually made it more into like this medieval style. So yeah, very much enjoy that. I'm working on a skull collection, but we got some fun merch. You can get some stickers and like stick them everywhere, or a coaster. I'm actually using the coaster as we speak. This is one of my favorite coasters. And I've had people angry at me as to why it's orange with like black outlining of the lines. I'm Dutch, and orange is the color of like our monarchy and like our country and sports and everything. So of course, orange. And it's like the orange that we mostly use for like all the stuff in our country. So of course, orange. Come on, people, like use your brain. I'm Dutch. So yeah, here you can see also some like videos, but Doggerland going up on the channel hopefully somewhere in May. We shall see, we shall see. A Tashed Peller shirt, of course, with the map. It's still pretty. It's still pretty. And yeah, that's gonna be it. Oh, also, I'm still using this massive mug. It's like a Stanley Cup, okay? If you like Stanley Cups, you can just get yourself one with like my logo and beautiful lions, and it's amazing, and I love it. And okay, I think I've enough. Yeah, I've blabbed enough. So either I might see you in Turkey in September, or I'll see you in the next video, maybe Sunday or Monday, probably. And if you're just here for like live streams, then I will probably see you next week on a Thursday on the live stream. So yeah, I think that's about it, guys. I enjoyed myself. I hope you all enjoyed yourselves. And I will see you next time. All right? All right. Okay. Have a great day, evening, night, morning, whatever your time zone is. And I'll see you next time. Okay. Bye.